Another question I get a lot of is who will be Nebraska's starting quarterback come this year? And I know everybody's got Dylan Raiola. Dylan Raiola. Yes, most likely it is Dylan Raiola, but if y'all been watching my videos, you know I am highly on Daniel Kaelin. I was one of the few when Dylan did decommit that I thought we'd be fine with Daniel Kaelin. I've known this kid since he was a freshman. I've watched him. I don't know him personally as in I could go to his house. I've watched him play personally. I've seen him, talk to him, and one of the smartest football IQs you're going to find anywhere. Peyton Manning was another one that had a very high IQ. I put Daniel Kaelin up there. Doesn't have the talent and the arm as Dylan Raiola, but he's not really that far off. And you also got to think, Daniel Kaelin doesn't have a NFL father that took him around and got him to all these football camps and these quarterback camps and took him around the country to the best. He didn't have that. He grew up there in Nebraska. So he's probably a little behind the 8 ball when it comes to development. Dylan's had a lot of professional things happen for him that most high school players didn't get. So to me, Dylan Raiola is probably the leader right now, and probably, if I had to guess, would be the starter. But do not count Daniel Kaelin out, and I guarantee you, you're going to see him in the game. You're going to see probably all 3 of these players in the game this year. Definitely probably Dylan Raiola, and you're probably going to see Danny Kaelin for at least 4 games, and if they could get away with it, they'll probably only do 4 games. But don't get me wrong, he could start. He could come out of this after spring and fall camp as the starter. It would not surprise me, and I think it's going to come down, believe it or not. If y'all remember back in the 90s when the Huskers had Brooke Barringer and Tommy Frey, and they were battling it out. And the only reason at that time, and they were really close, the only reason Tommy kind of won that job is he had not as many turnovers. And I think this is probably what it's going to come down to. Who knows the playbook well, which it sounds like they're both digging into there, and they're both learning, and they're both getting into it. So I think it's going to come down who can make the plays, who's making the plays and protecting the football. So don't get me wrong, it could be Heinrich. I know a lot of you going laughing at that because of what happened last year, but even though he is a junior, that was his starts last year. It's almost like going from his freshman to sophomore year. That was his first playing time and all that. He's getting a feel. First time under Rule, Satterfield. I got a feeling you're going to see a considerable jump. And I think having Daniel Kaelin and Dylan Raiola is going to help Haarberg. So don't count him out, him being a starter from last year. If it's all equal, gets down to the end and they're all pretty even, I then expect Haarberg to get the start. But I do think Dylan Raiola's probably got the edge over all of them. He'll probably edge it out. You'll probably hear about it in August, late in August, going into that first game. But again, it's probably going to come down to turnovers. If Daniel Kaelin gets it, so that's probably in practice where they weren't turning the ball over as much. And then as the season goes on, it's going to be who's playing well. I guarantee you, Rule and them is going to have a little quicker trigger finger when the ball's getting turned over like it was last year. You're going to probably see a little quicker. It's a learning experience too, so I could see them pulling one out, putting one in to do some teaching, to do some explaining, to say, hey, this is what we saw. What did you see? You know, then back in there again. So I kind of expect that. But if I had to pick right now, probably would be Dylan Raiola, but mainly do not count Daniel Kaelin. Both of them are going to be, to me, NFL players, and I would love for both of them to be here at Nebraska their whole time. I just got a feeling that's probably not going to happen. But the good thing about Daniel Kaelin is he is a Nebraska boy, wants to play for Nebraska, and so I feel like if he's one that could end up staying if he's not in there.